They keep on loving. Here's what else they do. Transform people now. They illuminate the way. They illuminate the way. You're the light of the world. City on the hill can't be hidden. What does light do? Light makes clear what's actually there, and it casts out darkness. That's who God says his people are. You make people aware of what's really there, and you cast out darkness. Now, in Jesus' time, remember, there's no like street lamps. There's nothing like around, the wilderness, like, oh, here's where we are. It's all pitch black, man. So when you see a city at night, it's lit up. So they didn't have street lights there either, but many of the cities were made of limestone, and they were very bright. And so even like torchlight, it'd shine off the sides of those buildings, and it would be very bright. You'd be off in the distance, you'd be like, oh my gosh, there's a city over there. It's obvious. And that city is telling you something. One of the things it's telling you is, you might want to think twice about going on in the darkness. You never know when another city's going to come by. So you might want to camp here. You might want to come in here because there's safety here. And one of the things that people that are lighting the way do is they tell the truth. They tell the truth about Jesus. They don't veil it. They don't hold it. They're not trying to offend anybody, but they recognize my purpose is to be a light. So I have to be salty and act like it, but I'm also supposed to tell people this is the way. This is how it goes. This is what is right. I'm so glad when I first met my wife, she was my girlfriend, and guys, I did not do everything right. I wasn't super tactful, but I made very clear to her, hey, sweetheart, all of your religious stuff in your background, that's fine, and I'm sure it's meaningful, but it doesn't do anything for your soul if you want to be in heaven with Jesus. Jesus himself needs to save you. Now, I was kind of tactless. I would say it in a very discourteous way because I was just so fiery and dumb then. But what's interesting is that because the power is in the gospel and not me, let me say that again. The power is in the gospel, not me. That's why Paul says in Romans 1:16, for I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of salvation to everyone who believes. It's the content of the gospel itself. The Spirit anoints that. He doesn't really anoint us. He anoints the gospel. And when people hear the gospel, it doesn't matter if you did it kind of good or really good or even pretty poor. He still honors it and empowers the gospel to help people come to know Christ. And what we need to be able to say to them is, hey, if I could go say it friendly again to Kenzie back in the day, I'll say, God loves you more than anybody else. He super loves you. But one of the things he needs you to know, because he loves you, is your soul is in danger until you entrust it to Jesus for eternity. Your soul is in danger. He doesn't want it in danger. I don't want it in danger. And you're not lobbing that into the middle of the Thanksgiving table unless that's kind of what's going on. But as you see people begin to look for the light. People begin to be like, man, it is dark around me. And you're just not quiet about it. You're like, hey man, this is the real way of Jesus. I'm not gonna try to accident you into getting saved. I'm not gonna try to I'm just gonna be salt and never say anything about it. No, there comes a time, so pay attention, when Jesus is teeing you up, my precious, you don't have to be like one of these online people. You don't have to know all the answers. You don't have to be right. All you have to do is say, this is what I've seen. This is what I believe. This is what Jesus did for me. And I know he'll do it for anybody. And you let Jesus take that, man. Just let him take it. And the one thing you need to do differently than the Pharisees, I need to do it, you need to do it, is we need to say, Jesus is the way and I am not. I'm not the way. Jesus alone is the way. Our church isn't the way. The way our culture behaves around here isn't the way. The things you've seen at other churches, that's not the way. Jesus is the way. So if you've seen any other ways and it doesn't quite do the portrait right, that's fine. Just look at the portrait. Look at Jesus, the Son of God, the image of God. He is the way. Don't cling to me. I'm going to get it wrong. Cling to him every day of your doggone life. Jesus alone is the way. I think there'd be a lot less church hurt if people started there. If they're like, these bozos, they're going to get a lot wrong. But I'm looking at the image of God in Jesus Christ. That's where I'm going. Pharisees point to themselves. Beatitudes people, kingdom people point to Jesus. And they talk about, here's one more way you can do it. You're going to be in trial. I'm sorry, you know this. You're going to have difficult stuff. There's going to be bad stuff happening in your life. And the distinctiveness of God people, of kingdom people is while they're going through that, they radiate light because they do it trusting God. They do it speaking highly of God. They say, this is just as hard as it would be for you, but I'm going to do this hanging on to my God who is faithful because I can trust him. I'm going to be honest about how hard it is, but I'm going to let everyone know, because the point is, don't waste your trials. When you're in a trial, like, express when it's appropriate, I trust, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know my God, and I know he's good, and I know somehow he's going to get the glory out of this. You say, Carter, not everyone's going to like that. I'm going to give you, this is top shelf spiritual stuff, okay? This is like the best stuff. This is the good stuff that we keep stashed away. I'm going to give it to you right now, okay? When someone doesn't really like that, here's what you do. In your heart, you just say, I don't care. I don't care. Dude, that's a powerful spiritual perspective. When you can finally get to the place where, honey, I love you, I hope it goes well, but I just don't care what you think. I just don't care. Think whatever you want. Because on a lot of levels, baby, you are a vapor, and this is going to be over in half a second, and you have nothing to do with where I'm going eternally. And so my way to serve you is just to tell you what it is. And if you don't like it, I don't care. I'm not mad. I'm not even mad at you. I just don't care. There's a lot of people here. And I'm going to get on to the ones that care. If you don't care, well, I'll pray that you start caring. But until then, I'm not going to worry about it. Guys, Jesus is, we're realizing now, Jesus is the portrait. We're supposed to synchronize to Jesus. But we have to remember that even though Jesus is the subject of the portrait, he actually is also the painter. And so that means we can't repaint ourselves into his image. All we can do is ask him to do it and cooperate with him doing it. But we've got to have that humility. We've got to say, I'm not going to be this Pharisee that thinks I can master this. I can't. Jesus is the master, and if I invite him to, he will repaint me in the image of God so that I can live in such a way that people understand God better and they glorify him because of it.